Hi everybody, you are back for another Pixlr.com photo editing challenge. Today, my big challenge for you is to transform a day picture into a night picture using different tools and filters and adjustments, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. The first thing we need to do, as usual, is go and find the photos that we are going to edit. I'm going to go ahead and search for a nice landscape. Something like this will do just fine as long as it is showing during the daytime. Two-finger click, copy, and paste that picture into Pixlr. I'm going to use my arrange tool to resize this because it came in huge. Oh, I've got a couple of them here. Zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to make this picture fit within my frame. And I think that's pretty good right there. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is we need to change the overall color that's happening here. If you think about nighttime, everything gets sort of this dark blue sort of tone to it, and that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to head up to adjustments, and what we're going to do is we're going to do hue and saturation. And what we're going to do is we're going to drop the saturation a little bit, make the color look a little bit more like washed out a little. Like I could go all the way to gray, or I could go super bright, but I kind of want something a little bit less than 0, a little -20 I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start to change the hue, the color of my picture over into like the blue zone here. And I'm going to do something else that's really important. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn on this little button next to where it says colorize. That's going to color my whole picture. Instead of just giving it a little bit of that color, it's going to give me that whole picture is going to be in that color range. All right. I'm going to drop the lightness down a little, and I'm just sort of going to mess with it until I get something that I think looks pretty much like nighttime. And I'm going to apply that. The next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to go up and I'm going to grab brightness and contrast. I'm going to lower the brightness even a little bit more. I'm going to up the contrast a little bit and apply. All right. I'm looking pretty good right now, just with a couple little things, adjustments from this adjustment menu. If you want to go through the whole list, you can. Like, what does temperature do? Does that help at all? Oh, no, not really. Does the tint help at all? Maybe. I don't know. I don't love that, so I'm going to cancel. A lot of learning this program is just sort of trying some stuff out. Again, that kind of brings me to gray. I don't think that does much for me right now. Highlights and shadows, does that do anything for me? Yeah, I kind of do like how the sky's getting a little darker. All right. So I'm pretty happy with this nighttime scene that I've got going on here so far, but I'm going to add a couple extra special things. I'm going to go back to Google and I'm going to look for a moon with a white background. Getting a white background is just helpful because it's really easy to remove that background. So I'm going to double finger click. I'm going to copy the image and I'm going to head back over and paste it in here. Okay. I'm going to grab my magic wand, my wand select tool, because I think this is the easiest one, especially if I have a white background. I'm going to go ahead and click the white background and delete. I can't do anything else while I have this selection happening here, so I need to hit Control D on my keyboard. I'm going to grab my eraser, and I'm just going to go and clean up. My brush is a little too big. Clean up some little things that I see here. Like I see some words that were at the bottom of that page. Get rid of everything that I see. All right. Let's move the moon where I think I'm going to put it, which is about here. Resize it. And I'm going to do the same thing to the moon because right now it looks a little too bright for my picture even though it's the moon. I think I'm going to add just a little bit of like a blue tone temperature to, instead of like a yellow, although sometimes we do have a yellow moon. I'm going to go a little bit more blue toned with my moon. Apply. And now I'm going to use a filter. So at the top, I'm going to do filter and I'm going to go to outer glow. I can make this really, really big or not so big, whatever kind of works for you. I'm going to go somewhere in the middle. I'm going to feather that, meaning make the edge a little bit softer, not so hard. And I'm also going to drop the opacity a little bit, make it a little bit less see-through. I mean, a little bit more see-through, a little less opaque. I think I like that just about there. And I'm starting to look pretty good here. I'm going to make it a little extra fancy by using some of my tools off to the side. I'm going to look around until I find one called Dodge Burn. Lighten or darken areas of the image to bring out dark areas or dim light tones. Make sure I'm on the right layer, and here I go. So I'm going to lighten the highlights on part of these hills and mountains here to make it look like the moon is really shining down on this landscape. I'm going to give myself a pretty big brush. I'm going to make that brush pretty soft, not hard, but pretty soft here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of go, let's make sure I'm on the right layer. I'm going to go through here and I'm just going to sort of lighten up parts of the hill that I think that the moon might be shining on. I think that looks pretty darn cool. Let's see if I want to do anything else. Get out of here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go back to the internet and I think I'm going to look for some night clouds. And I'm going to find one that I like, maybe something like this. I'm going to double click, 2-finger click, copy image. And I'm going to go ahead and paste. And I'm going to use a couple different tools, my wand again, to kind of try to get rid of some of this blue background that's happening here. Control D to deselect. I'm also going to grab my eraser. And again, I'm going to make the brush size a little bit bigger and I'm going to make it a lot softer. And I'm just going to kind of start to soften up that hard edge there that came from sort of the rectangular picture that we took from the internet. Perfect. I'm going to take these clouds, make them a little bit smaller, Move them up in front of my moon. And I think that's starting to look pretty cool. All right, go ahead and give this a shot. I want to see your daytime photo and I want to see the nighttime photo both in your portfolio. So the before and the after. Go ahead and have some fun with it. Let me know if you're having any trouble.